Hey, good morning, everyone. And Larry, congratulations on the grandkid.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Morning. Mhm.
Morning. Everyone's doing well.
Okay. Congrats.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that. That's great. What's the age difference between the two grandkids?
2 years.
2 years. Yeah. Oh, that's nice.
So we don't seem to have an agenda. I don't have any topics pressing, which is perfectly fine if we don't have anything today.
Yeah, I mean, what-
Attention, attention. This building is
That doesn't sound good.
nearest emergency
it,
exit.
se it seems that I need to evacuate.
Attention, attention.
Huh, okay.
This
Did I just hear an evacuate?
Yeah, I think that was Gabriel, right?
being
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think so.
that's on my building. It seems like I need to evacuate the building, so
Yeah.
I need to disconnect. So I'm gonna try to connect from my phone. I have just kind of two general updates about one about SD core, one on ramp. But yeah, if you give me like 10-15 minutes, I can provide that input
Well,
or
if this could be an indefinite, if we have no other agenda items, I don't know. Maybe if
right.
anyone else does it, we can certainly fill the time.
Yeah, it's up to you. I'm gonna try to connect in about like 5 to 10 minutes. If you guys are still there, I can update, or if not, we can leave it for next time. Okay,
If we're not here, go ahead and just add your bullets to the agenda.
sure.
Thanks, Gabriel.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
okay. I have to leave. Yeah,
Hope
bye bye.
everything's okay.
Yeah, no, I think everything is fine. I mean, yeah, okay. Thank you. Bye.
Did we didn't lose? Yeah, there's Christian. So, um, well, I guess while we're waiting, we could hear from Timon and Christian just a little bit about any progress that's been made with LF networking or live
Yeah.
networking.
So, let's see. So we had a meeting with um, uh, uh, it's hard to say. It's not really with LFN. It's more with LF. And really, where the ball was left last was that Sridhar, I think, and LF were going to put together kind of a proposal, kind of structured, and then they never came back really. Um, and really, the challenge was that we were kind of pushing for an articulation of the value proposition, or kind of why do something with LFN now versus later. And it, I do think it's hard. And I was asking that kind of in this kind of this next update, that for this group, that we articulate the value proposition and the why join LFN now, um, line of reasoning. And I just don't know that there's a lot of meat there. I think that was maybe a little bit off-putting to LF when I was putting it that way. Um, and so let me pause here. Maybe Christian, you'd want to add your perspective because you were also on the call. What do you remember
Yeah.
about it?
So it was like, yeah, come back, like you say, with, value proposition, pros and cons of joining LFN and present with the TST, right? That was pretty much the outcome of the meeting. Right? So the pro lighted, right, for the project, which are part of LFN, they're like in a, more in a group, right? They have better access to other, better collaboration, better integration than being in LF, which is probably wider, right? A lot more projects, right, and maybe not as much coherence as they would like, right? So that was probably one of the benefits highlighted for LFN. But he was going to come back with, what's the value proposition, what's the pros and cons of joining LFN, and then present it to the right Timon or maybe Bashudar himself, right? And have a wide audience be able to make a decision.
Right. And I'm going back and looking at my notes from that call. And another part of it is, well, they really were focused is LFN has this whole structure of, hey, if you want to join us, you have to kind of understand what level you're coming in at. They kind of have, I think from memory, like a 5-stage kind of classification for how mature a project is, and maybe how self-sustaining or how much traction it has, you know. So they were kind of spending all their time trying to, you know, think about how this project would be classified. You know, it's either, I think, incubation or graduated were like the two classifications. But you know, and so that was really almost a kind of a mindset of LFN, like, hey, if you want to join LFN, you have to, you know, put together a presentation and identify and classify yourself kind of in this rating scale of you know, how mature the project is, you know. Which was, in my mind, quite myopic and very directional, like, you know, just, you know, as if everybody's just dying to join LFN. And so I think when we, you know, started asking these other questions about kind of flipping it around, that kind of, it's almost like it's not the conversation or the way they think of it in a way, you know. So, and then the other thing I would just add is that you'll remember OSC, which is the the ORAN software community, that was intentionally formed as a kind of independent LF-hosted autonomous group, has recently and since joined LFN and sort of collapsed themselves into LFN. And I was trying to really understand the motivation behind it. And it really seemed like it was directly around cost savings. They said that OSD could save around 60% of their costs. And I don't know if I can pinpoint right now why they had that level of cost savings, but they did. I think it was PMO functions and some other things. So, you know, again, it didn't seem like it was really creating, you know, we're looking for greater critical mass, or if we could join and there was really a lot of joint momentum and whatnot. And we're also looking for joint momentum around Okudu. But
Okudu, yeah.
But Okudu is not part of LFN. And I think LF views it as maybe the long-term place that Okudu will land, but that's probably still at least a year and a half out, if not more. So, you know, I guess my personal view is that LFN is kind of the place where things land when they've really, you know, where they need a place to land. And we were kind of thinking about it, but we have at this point found sort of an alternative path for Aether, which is sort of a self-sustaining, cut the budget kind of path that gives Aether another year and a half runway. So I'm thinking it kind of pushes the decision down the road again, and it might make the decision for Aether coincident with Okudu joining LFN. You know, that might be a way to think of the next target. And that's my current thinking on it. Any thoughts, questions, feedback?
I just joined, but one kind of comment about Okudu. Would it be kind of like a good idea to start kind of promoting that we already have a blueprint for Okudu and things like that we are already interacting with that and we are able to deploy, make Ether work with Okudu when Okudu is deploying with USRPs, DPDK, or as a simulation.
Yes, I think that's a great idea.
Because we haven't said anything in the community. I mean, at least on LinkedIn, the last time that I shared something was probably several months ago, and then we haven't said absolutely anything.
Also, you know, if we look on the Okudu site, right, the team from last year, they were part of ONF, right, Canonical, Guillaume, Ghislain, right, has a 5G stack. He made a PR on the Okudu stack site. It was accepted, and he's being shown as a core working with Okudu, right? So we should probably take the same route. I mean, LF was very surprised that this happened. It didn't go through the classical evaluation and decision making, right? But today they're being seen at the mobile core working with Okudu, right? And SD core is not, right? So
Yeah, thank you.
you know,
So I think this is a great idea. I think if we could just, even craft like 2 or 3 paragraphs or whatnot, let's maybe just think of a kind of a write-up. I'd be happy to run with it in a couple of ways, but I think that the overarching point is that yes, we should be publicly, talking about the synergies and the integrations that exist and pointing people to how, what's available. And we can, beat our own chest and do it directly, but we could also try to do it through Okudu to the extent possible. And I'm not familiar, Christian, with what you're speaking to. I'm gonna have to go through. If you have a direct pointer, please share as well. But I'm happy to dig into that and drive that forward.
Yeah, Gabriel, you have the link probably, right?
Yeah, Christian, right now I'm on my phone because we had to evacuate the building.
Sorry. Yeah, me too. But yeah, we can take note and we can send it. Yeah.
Yeah, I can share the link with you, Simon.
Yeah.
And also yesterday when I was kind of exploring some of the Okudu documentation, and then basically during the installation process, they basically said that they recommend Open5GS as their core. So that's kind of the other thing that probably is like historical coming from SRS Run. But that's something that I just kind of found out yesterday.
So I think that totally makes sense for us to take as a target to get at least listed alongside, as an option. Yeah. All right, good. I think this is good. So would it be okay to ask, Gabriel, maybe, kind of you just fired off a couple of bullet points and verbally for a couple of, integrations and points of collaboration. And I think Intel's been driving a lot of this. If you could just give me some text pointers and we can kind of mold that into.
Are you talking about the Okudu integration with OnRamp, the blueprints?
Right. Yes, in any ways that Aether and OnRamp are integrated with Okudu or publicly available resources people can use that, pre-integration or documentation or anybody who's interested.
The Ether docs already mentioned that. I mean, in the other blueprints, and I don't know, Larry, whether you can share that link. So the other blueprints section in the Ether docs already has all that documentation. So I don't know whether that.
So yeah, I think Timon, just start with docs.etherproject.org and you'll find at least what's there is a starter.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah, there is a section called Other Blueprints, and inside that section, then you can find the Okudu blueprint section.
Not one you can use. Mine is more.
So now that you're back, I'm sorry. Is there any more on this high level project topic? I mean, the summary here is absolutely right, which is we need to make wave our hands and make ourselves visible within the Okudu ecosystem.
The other kind of in general like activity, should we kind of start kind of posting something more often on like LinkedIn or maybe somewhere else to kind of show that the project is still active?
So
under this movement.
Yeah, we don't have an official marketing arm anymore.
Oh, okay.
And so it's just up to each of us to. I don't know. I don't even know for sure. Does Aether still have a LinkedIn account? I don't.
Yeah.
I think there is a LinkedIn account as far as I remember, or at least there was. several months ago.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess there is I don't know if the right terminology, there is an Ether entity in LinkedIn, right? The user account to log in and be able to post to it and everything. It was really LF and marketing that kind of owned that. We have to just make sure we can dig in and post as Ether now. And I can take that action to kind of figure that out. But yes, I think Larry's meta point is right on that we're kind of moving to more community-led, kind of distributed function. Ideally, I'd kind of like to get in a mode where multiple of us could be posting as things come up, and we should feel empowered and encouraged to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, LinkedIn might be a nice tool here, right? If at least among ourselves we start to propagate and share.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. That sounds like a good action to take away for all of us. Let's jump to the core where I think Gabriel has a couple of updates.
Yes. So one thing is basically kind of like great progress on the release 18 for the service-based interface. As of last weekend, I was able to run all the 7 profiles, all the 6 enabled profiles that we have on Gmail vSIM, and everything runs perfectly end to end. Right now, sorry. Right now, I'm going through some kind of like cleanup process because to kind of make it work, I make a few things that are not necessarily the correct way to do it. So as of a few minutes ago, I finished to validate that linter, everything was working fine, unit tests were working fine. So I'm planning to run, now the code is kind of a little bit cleaner. I'm planning to run another end-to-end set of end-to-end tests, making sure that everything works fine, and then I'm going to start kind of opening PRs. One thing that I wanted to kind of bring up is what is going to be the review process for this, because these are huge PRs. So basically, there are changes, I think, at least 600, 700 files. Without counting the OpenAPI files, the files from the OpenAPI module, because basically they are built from scratch.
Wow. Yeah. This is going to be a challenge. Do we want to create a release 18 branch of some sort?
I am creating something called release 18 upgrade, at least on my own forks, and that's where going to be kind of I'm going to be pushing my changes, and then I need to point them to some kind of branch on the OMEC project repositories. So I like your idea, but what about if we do the kind of the opposite? So in the sense that create a release 15 branch where we have a copy of what we don't use that or whatever the state of the code is as of now, which is basically release 15. Move that into the release 15 branch, and then keep pushing whatever new changes into the main branch, because basically that's going to be in continuous development, right? So I wouldn't prefer to create release 18 branches, because otherwise we need to start pointing any new things into that release 18 branches.
Yeah. Okay. So I think this sounds. So create a release 15 branch for the stable version.
Correct.
And merge release 18 into main.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
now,
that makes sense.
Since there is lots and lots of changes, for now, again, I have validated everything with the Gmail vSIM. Do we want to kind of just merge as they are and then fix issues on the fly, or do we want to kind of spend some specific resources to start kind of fixing or reviewing the PRs? And I don't know whether there's going to be people available to review those.
Yeah, that's the problem is who's gonna do
Yeah,
the reviews.
correct.
Well, so let's start with the folks, the open, what's it called? I'm sorry, the ISO group in India.
Oh, the iOS MCN.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can try asking them. Mm.
Well, nothing will force it quite like merging it into main. What
Yeah,
other?
Yeah.
worth.
Can we ask favor to Badri and Ajay? Also, they're fairly busy on their side, right?
Yeah, and also the Christian, the PRs are huge. I'm gonna be are gonna be huge. So it's gonna be lots of changes.
I mean, we should ask them, and I'm just not
Hmm.
optimistic we're going to get much time. But
Correct.
but certainly any time we could get for them to do even a cursory pass would probably be worth it.
Sure.
I was just going to say I would suggest asking Claude Code to try and break up the PR into smaller chunks. It can be really good at that kind of thing. You know, if you can find there are parts that aren't dependent on each other, it'll help you break it up.
Uh, that's kind of a little bit challenging, Sean, because again, I'm rebuilding from scratch the open API specs. And from there, basically models and APIs, it's everything kind of, let's say, brand new. And the way how the open API generator creates the files or how they are exposed, it's different to how they were created like 7, 8 years ago, maybe that when the original Open API were created. So there is lots of
Right.
improvements from the Open API generator itself that has happened on all these years. So that is going
Right.
to be a little bit
Well,
challenging to kind of break it in pieces.
yeah. No, I mean, I get that. But I guess then, auto-generated code doesn't really need to be inspected to the same level, I guess, anyway.
Oh yeah, no, I wasn't actually referring just to that. What I'm saying is basically Open API, it's completely reflects, right? So it's from scratch. So and it is assumed to be correct. And then basically all the different components, the NFs, basically call to this new module. So for example, before the SD on the on the slicing side was a string. Now it is a pointer. So
Hmm.
all those kind of changes, just to give you a simple example, right? So, but there are lots of
Hmm.
changes without even ignoring that we are going to review the Open API because that's kind of given that it is correct. So,
Okay. Anyway, I think my suggestion still stands. I think it is probably worth, allowing code or Cloud Code to look over it, even if it doesn't fully understand it. You never
mm,
know what it's going to throw.
mm. Oh yeah, no, we can use Claude or Copilot in general to be kind of like as a reviewer, for example, or to see if it finds something. Um,
For sure.
Let's do give AJ and Audrey a chance, and I mean the Cloud Code inspection is fine too.
mhm.
Yeah, I mean we're likely. Well, I don't know. We're just going to be shorthanded on reviewing. That's just the way it is.
Right.
Well, so stand back for just a second. This is great. I mean, being able to talk about a release 18 version of Ether Core is a great thing to be able to do.
Absolutely. Yep.
So I'm not sure we need to proceed we, with all caution because we don't have a huge amount at risk here. All right. Anything else?
No, I mean that's from the SD core side. There are a couple things that we still need to kind of merge. One is some PRs from the iOS MCM team related to enabling IMS support inside the SD core. That is something that Suresh is kind of actively working on. There are a few changes that still need to be addressed by the iOS MCM team, but that's also coming up. Hopefully not too long in the future. So, and then also the for what's the name of the company? The Forceway. It was like Sweden company.
Hmm.
Yeah, so they are actually start opening some PRs related to NTN. So we start kind of adding merging those.
Well, as I recall, they required release 18, right?
Not for everything. So there are some things that they are still already kind of like making some changes.
Okay.
Yeah, some of for the billing side, that's basically what for the charging side, that's what they were saying. You know, they are gonna wait for us to kind of create release 18 because of the creation of the the APIs and models related to that. So for release 18.
Mm-hmm.
But the NTN side is something that they are already kind of like adding some stuff. Of course, it's not uh, fully supported from our side in the sense that our N2 and N1 interfaces, so NGAP and NAS are still release 15 compliant. So we also need, after the service-based interface is upgraded to release 18, we need to upgrade the N2 and then N1 interfaces as well to release 18.
Okay.
Yeah, so those are kind of the primary things from the core. And in on-ramp, we have been kind of doing lots of improvements, trying to deploy on-ramp in environments where, let's say, there is no internet access, like, you know, when somebody takes a machine to a showroom or something like that to do a demo and things like that, and there is
The
no
air
internet
gap there,
access.
right?
The air gap, yes. But besides that, we are also doing some kind of a catalog to kind of consolidate certain variables in a primary file that can be used in an easy way to automatic deployment of multiple things. So to try to kind of simplify as much as possible. We are also adding a few kind of checks, like pre-flight checks, related to Docker, related to Kubernetes, related to Helm. So lots of things going on in on-ramp, and since now it's a monolithic repository, it makes things easier and simpler to kind of integrate. Something that I have been trying to do, which is enabling the GitHub Actions for SRS Run and Okuro, but in simulation mode. But for some reason they don't seem to work. I haven't had time to kind of debug that issue, but I have a couple PRs open for that, but no time to continue debugging the issue.
So these are actually, you know, I mean, certainly R18 is huge, I think, and but even the air gap thing is something that's kind of been on the roadmap, or we definitely had community members who are particularly interested in it in the past. So, you know, this, along with the kind of the discussion around Okudu and getting the message out and kind of articulating some of these things that are going on, these are all really important things, I think, for us to, in some one way, shape, or form, publicize. And where can I find more
Exactly.
on the specific list of R18 capabilities that are getting integrated, or that, I mean, they're not merged yet, but that you've implemented so far, or that on the roadmap?
Basically, the service-based interface support for release 18. So that's kind of like We are not adding any additional features, nothing. It's just kind of, at the moment, it's just migration from release 15 to release 18. There are multiple things that are going to be supported later on, like NWDAF and things like that. But at the moment, we are not touching that. It's just kind of migration at this point. But the fact that saying that we are kind of supporting now release 18 is a big thing.
All right. This is the APIs which are conformant to release 18 timelines, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not the full release 18 stuff, right? But it's necessary steps to get there.
I see. So it's basically changing the service interfaces to be R18 compatible, but all the functional components are essentially the same. Is that a fair way to think of it?
In general, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Good. Okay, that's helpful. All right. Yeah, so I don't know if it's to what extent we beat our chest around that now at this phase or not. What do you think?
It's publicity.
It is. Yeah, I guess we should, we should take every opportunity to continue to talk about the progress and things that are going on.
To mention that the project is active, and I don't remember if I mentioned to you guys probably I think like a month ago, the person who used to be one of the primary developers of Visual DC contacted me, and one of the first questions that he says, "Is the project still active?" So yeah, the project is still there, because he was interested to kind of contribute something on the work that he's doing, and he is no longer anymore with the Free4GC.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so the surprising part was, are you guys still active or what?
Right.
So that's what I said, the kind of shocker. I think, yeah, the project is still an active development, but yeah, it seems like since we are not doing, there's no activity, at least on LinkedIn and things like that, it seems like the project is kind of dormant.
Yeah, so it's definitely not the impression we want to leave, and we should think about ways to signal that. And I generally think of GitHub and GitHub stars and commits being the leading indicator, but maybe people don't go there. They have to kind of have something.
Especially people who are new to the cellular domain. They're just trying to find something that works. They don't necessarily are kind of like experts on GitHub or experts in general in Git, so they're just trying to kind of find something. And of course, the first thing that they're going to find in Google search is that we are not even in the first page as a result. So.
All right, good. Well, I think that what I need are, just kind of a paragraph or two of things we want to talk about, and I can embellish and figure out how to push and whatnot too, and I think I have what I need for Okudu now in the docs. I don't know that I have that for the R18 component, unless you can point me to something. And then same true for the air gap. So if there are things, just point me to them. If not, let's just write a paragraph together and then we can drive it from there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good. Excellent.
All right. Is there anything else?
Nothing else from my side.
All right. Thanks for all the updates, Gabriel. And I think the biggest takeaway here is we just need to all put some effort into helping the project be more visible. All right. Thanks, everyone. See you a couple of weeks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye.